All right, guys, welcome back. So, listen, I've been trying to go live for like an hour by now, and I can go live, but the issue is that I'm trying to get the chat to overlay on the screen. I'm not really sure how to get that up and going, but whatever. I want to start doing these more often. So, once I figure out the whole IT, technical aspect of things, I'll be going live more often. But until then, it is what it is. We're gonna basically do a reaction to this TikTok influencers. I find them a little bit interesting, and yeah, I figured I'd do a reaction. And who knows, maybe it's the start of a thing going forward that we go on this and start doing on this channel, because I do want to go live more often. I'm just struggling to find out what kind of topics to go live about. It's easy to do reactions on just regular videos, but as far as going live, I have to have a few videos on deck in order for me to go ahead and proceed. But with that being said, let's go ahead and start on the first one.
If you are Christian and you see what is happening in the Miami ICE detention facilities and hearing the stories that are coming out of there, and if that does not absolutely outrage you, I'm sorry to tell you, but you are not following Jesus as closely as you should be. These poor people are being treated so awfully in these ICE detention facilities that they're being held in because they are getting processed. They are being held in there longer than they should be. They're getting less water than I would give my dog, being treated worse than dogs.
First of all, prove it. Prove it. How do you know the way that they're getting treated? I haven't seen anything in the news as far as how the way they're getting treated. They're just assuming. So unless you have actual facts, and this is the problem that we have with some of these people, that is that they're trying to do everything to get clicks. So they're making literally all these claims and have zero evidence to the claims that they're making. So it makes it irrelevant. And not for now, but the more people that we have like this that spread misinformation, they have a big audience. So the amount of people that they're able to reach and to make, them think like this, it's a problem.
Like, where is the outrage? Where is the public talk? Where are Christian influencers and pastors talking about this issue? Why are no Christian influencers talking about the inhumane conditions that are in these detention facilities in Miami? Again, that remind you all, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." And what about the book of Daniel, when King Nebuchadnezzar has a golden statue that they are refusing to bow down in front of? And these people that were real followers of Christ said, "We won't bow down to you and your golden statue because you're not our God." So all of the pastors that brag about praying for these leaders in authority and choose to pray for them over these people that are oppressed and being treated worse than animals get treated, those are not.
But how do you know this? Again, you need evidence. You need proof. You can't just be making stuff up. Where are your sources that they're being treated like this? Because last time I checked, it's one thing to mistreat people. It's another thing to actually get illegals out of the country. If you are here illegally, you have committed a crime. I don't care if you have kids, if you is your grandma that's getting deported, or whoever the case is. You are here illegally. You are breaking the law. Therefore, you are committing a crime. Being deported is not inhumane. I don't understand this. Being deported is not inhumane. You have never seen a legal citizen get deported, ever. So if you came legally, you wouldn't have an issue. So I just hate the fact that they really try to make this. They really try to refer this to the Bible as if you're deporting these people, all of a sudden now you're inhumane.
Not real followers of Christ. Real followers of Christ do not put earthly beings and leaders above God. And this story in
I do agree with that. So no one is really putting them above God. I don't understand why she would even make that comment.
Who's not to bow down to King Nebuchadnezzar's golden statue, because they said, "You are not our God. And if you throw us into this fire and burn us for doing that, our God will save us." So, if you are a Christian and you see all these atrocities being committed, seeing immigrants being treated worse than dogs, and the only reason that they're being treated
Again,
that
no proof.
inhumanely is because they have different paperwork than you do, you are not a true follower of Christ. Christ teaches us to love everyone, no matter what, no matter where they came from. Jesus himself.
I'm not opposed to loving everybody. Obviously, I love everybody. But again, you have to hold people accountable for the crimes they commit. It is what it is. I'm sorry. If I commit a crime, let's say I rob a bank, but I feed the homeless. Yeah, I'm doing a great deed by feeding the homeless. But I just robbed the bank. I don't understand how people get that. I don't understand where the confusion is. You can't do a good deed based on an illegal crime. It is what it is.
Was an immigrant. So all the pastors that want to brag about praying for Trump and praying for the White House, but are choosing to ignore the poor immigrants that are being treated so
We can pray for anybody. And I mean, we're even praying for the immigrants. But again, we cannot hold them on a pedestal and say that they deserve to be here because they're here. But they came here illegally.
inhumanely are bowing down and following earthly leaders and not God. If you are Christian and you see what is happening in the Miami.
So that's the first reaction. Let's go ahead and tackle another one that I came across tonight.
Look what's going on in the state of the world. You can't have an all-loving God and have a Christian capitalist. You can't have an all-loving God and have a capitalist healthcare system. You follow my drift? Do you see the trends of the state of suffering of the world and the religious powers and their religious beliefs? They all go down to 3 Abrahamic religions: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. You can't have an all-loving God but want women to be submissive.
All right, let's go ahead and tackle his first point. Basically say you can't have an all-loving God and be pro-capitalism. Yeah, you can. Just because you're running a business to make profit doesn't make you non-Christian. And again, I'm totally against the prosperity gospel. That's what it's called. But I believe that if you have a business, you should want to make a profit, because with the profit, you're able to do more good. It's that simple. So to say that you can't be a Christian or there can't be an all-loving God because things like, capitalism exist, it's a flawed argument.
That's not all loving. That's literally deceiving. If I'm telling you I'm all loving, but yet constantly deceiving you to your fucking face, if we're reading the Bible and it's telling you to do all of these things, that's not all loving and is not for the betterment of everybody, and is only excluding you to a certain select group. And if you're in this group, you get to do certain things and you the only one that get access to God, that's not all loving.
To that point, there's not a specific group per se. The New Testament is available for everybody. The New Testament is for everybody. So it's not like Islam, where Islam is for a specific group. This is for everybody. Everybody can purchase the Bible. Everybody can have access to the Word of God. So you can clearly tell that he hasn't really studied the Bible whatsoever.
That's some devil shit. But if you're Christian, I ain't even here to try to change your thought pattern. I ain't even here to change your mind. You want to know why? Because you're being deceived. And being deceived means that you in good faith believe that you're doing right, until you realize that you're doing wrong. But that's not for me to tell you that. I can warn you. I can say, yo, I see where you're heading because I've been there. But it's all up to you. But I'll leave you with this. You cannot be serving an all-loving, righteous God if you're not going out here looking at different people's situations and seeking to understand them and bring them up to a level of awareness physically, mentally.
That's all irrelevant. That's irrelevant. This whole thing about, you have to see people where they are and stuff like that. That's not our job. That's not up to us. Everybody has access to the Bible. Everybody has access to the Word of God. You know, God is going to judge everybody individually. And this whole thing, oh, as long as you're a good person and, you know, you serve your community, then you're saved. No, that's not the way it works. You want to be saved, you have to literally read the Bible and you have to follow the rules as far as the Bible goes. Being a good person is not enough to get you saved. I'm sorry. There's a lot of good people out there that do not believe in Jesus. And the number one thing that it says in the Bible is you have to believe Jesus is God. You don't do that, you can't get saved. So don't get me wrong, I'm all for people being better, 100%. I'm all for that. But that is not enough to get you saved. I know a lot of good people that unfortunately they will not be saved. I don't know that, but I can assume based on what I read in the Bible, they will not be saved.
Emotionally and spiritually. But you probably think you're doing that. But you're not, you're judging.
Yes, we can judge. Yeah, you can judge righteously. That is a thing. We can definitely judge. Now, listen. We can judge someone's actions, right? That alone gives us the ability to judge others as far as their actions. I can judge a specific individual, you know, their actions and decide if I'm going to become closer to them, stay away from them, keep my distance. Those are all judgments that we make. We literally judge every single day about everything. So to say that we can't judge, they're just taking it out of context. But anyways, that's my reaction for for tonight. Again, I want to do these more often. But once I just have to get this thing figured out as far as the chats and things like that. And again, I'm also going in live very, very late because I wanted to try it out and see the settings and things like that. But with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one, and hopefully we can make it a thing going forward.